if you need to. Wrap yourself in a blanket or a robe if that feels right. Today, we're going to take a deep breath together. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And let your shoulders fall. Before we begin, let's do a little roll call. Okay. Gemma? Okay. Okay. Zippy? Okay. Raven? Okay. Present and glowing, I hope. Okay. And you? Yes, you're here. That's what matters. You made it to class. That's enough. Welcome, my lovely learners. Today, we're going to dive into something I absolutely love. The science of skin. The barrier, the storyteller, the shield, the mirror. You don't need to write anything down right now. This is your time to simply listen, absorb, and let your nervous system settle while we talk about the layers that protect us, hold us, and carry so much of our story. This is your reminder that being an esthetician isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about noticing. Seeing your client and seeing yourself. So, as I read, I invite you to slow down, relax, listen not with your critic's voice, but with curiosity. Let your mind drift if you want, like a steam towel fresh from the cabbie. Let this be our little ritual. You're allowed to enjoy learning. You're allowed to rest. We're going to start off from the chapter that we were finishing last time. Okay, we were, if I remember correctly, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I always like to take your input. We're going to continue up with chapter 12, which was the cosmetic ingredient categories. Now, we were talking about answering the questions, and question 1 was, what is the definition of cosmetic chemistry? Does anybody know? Okay, yes, very good. So, in other words, it is the science of formulating and producing the products used in the aesthetics profession. and by consumers at home. Very good. Yes, you are very smart. You always know the right answer. All right. Now, let's go on to question 2. Okay. Now, tell how each term applies to cosmetic chemistry. A, biology. Now, this answer is the chemist must understand how the cells and the body function and how the products will be absorbed in order to properly formulate products. Now, is that the answer that everybody had? Wonderful. I thought so. You all are such good students. You pay such good attention. You always listen and you absorb knowledge like a sponge. Very good. Any questions? No? Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Pharmacology. This is a study of how drugs affect the body's functions. Sometimes cosmetic chemists or pharmacists in universities that offer training for cosmetic chemists do so through their pharmacy program. Did anybody have any different answers? No? Okay. Very good. Any questions? Okay. Very good. Very good. Now, if you have questions at any time, just feel free to come up and write them on the board. Yes. Very good. Okay. Next. Now, what are the 2 basic categories of ingredients? And who wants to answer this? Yes. Very good. You got it. Those were performance and functional. Very good. Yes. You're very good, class. Is everybody comfortable? You would like to switch seats? Yes. That is permitted. Okay. All right. Now, the next question. Perform ingredients, sometimes referred to as blank, are ingredients that provide the treatment value of a cosmetic formulation. Anybody know the answer? You do? Oh, okay. Yes. It's active principles. Yes, that is right. Good job. Yes. You have learned well. Okay. What is a vehicle? That is the next question. All right. Nobody knows this one? That's okay. We were discussing this at the end of the lesson last time, so I don't expect you to know this because we didn't really get into it. So it's not required to know it, but I will tell you now. Okay. Now, a vehicle. Okay, commonly called carriers, are used to dilute a performance ingredient, regulate its penetration into the skin, and or help facilitate surface application. Yeah. You don't need to take notes because you don't need to take notes on these because I've already created a little handout that I will give you. On the later material, I will require you to take notes, but this I already have for you, and I will be passing that along. I will hand them out, and I just ask you to take one and then pass it to your neighbor. And actually, if you want to use this to take notes on, that is fine. And we have pens right here in case anyone has forgot. We have these lovely little pens. You can just take one and pass it on. And to use them, you just twist it, and then it writes, and they're very, very, very cute. And then when you're done, close the pen, and I will pass around the bottle. And you can just place it back into the container like so. Alright, any questions on that? Also, we will be working with exfoliation today later on after we take notes. So I will ask that you take one of these. We'll pass it around. I'll ask that you take one of these and place it on your desk. These will melt. Oh, that smells wonderful. These will melt. We will be brushing them on our faces when they melt. We will be applying them to our neighbors. Okay? So you will take one. You'll pass it on when you are done. You will put the lid on and return this to me, okay? We will be doing body masking today. So I will ask that you simply, I will pass one of these around and you will split them with your neighbor because they are quite full. So come into this. This is what we are going to use to compound our body masks, one of the ingredients, because it is going to be a mask and a scrub. So you will scoop half of this into here, and then you will pass it to your neighbor, who will scoop the other half. And then we are going to save that for later for our treatment portion of the section after we are finished with our notes. So today it's going to be a long day, but it is going to be relaxing. You're going to go home and you are going to feel so rejuvenated by this experience. Now, if you do feel sleepy at the end, that's okay. We do have beds for you to sleep in because we understand that these treatments can make you very sleepy and relaxed. So you are welcome to fall asleep afterwards. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Yes, you may use the restroom. Okay, we will see you when you get back. Okay, we will miss you. All right. Okay, moving on. So we are going to be moving on to our skincare regimen. And this is our hyaluronic acid serum. Now, hyaluronic acid holds 1,000 times its weight in water, so it is very good for the skin. Now, your skin naturally has hyaluronic acid in it, but as you age, you lose some of that. So you want to replenish it. And we do that with serums. It's also added to moisturizers, even face washes. So we have this lovely serum right here. And it is called Hyaluronic Intensity. And it is the most powerful hyaluronic acid serum that you will ever find. Now, because you're a student, you do get a discount on this product for you, your family, and your friends. Now, I'm going to demonstrate it for you. You can just see the moisture locking into the skin. You will use this on your clients and they will love it. Now, for every bottle that you sell, you will get a bottle for yourself for free. That is a benefit that you get for joining our school today. All right, any questions? No? Okay. Wonderful. All right. Now, let's move on to our next lesson. We are going to be talking about skin secrets. Now, there are some myths surrounding secrets about skin we would like to dispel those for our clients because we want to educate them as we treat them. Because that is one of our jobs as estheticians, is not just to give them radiant skin, but also to educate. So I will be going over a few facts, and then one by one I would like you to come up and write your favorite fact on the board. You may do that like so. You may just write your fact up here on the board. Yes. And Sarah, you may begin since you are the class leader, and then one by one you can come up and you can write your fact on the board, okay? All right. Now, our first fact about skin is about liposomes. Okay? These were developed by for pharmaceutical purposes. I hear you talking back there. That's okay. I do allow talking on our breaks, but please, in the meantime, please listen to the lesson because you will find it beneficial. All right. Liposomes. These were developed for pharmaceutical purposes to carry drugs into our systems via the skin rather than the gut. They are hollow spheres made up of lipids similar to the skin's own, so are readily accepted by the skin. Quickly commandeered for cosmetic use, they are now pumped full of active skin ingredients in the hope they will carry them into the deeper layers of the epidermis. Early liposomes were relatively big and deposited large amounts of active ingredients soon after application. The newer generation, this print is very small and I don't have my glasses, so please bear with me. Thank you. The newer generation are smaller in the hope that they can penetrate further and release smaller amounts of active ingredients over greater periods of time. Each company has its own name for them, such as nanospheres and micelles. And that is where we get micellar water. That is the cleansing micellar water that we use to remove our makeup. And we love the micellar water, don't we? I know you do, because we have talked about it before. Now, that was one fact, and we will continue in a moment. Because the next thing we are going to talk about is AlphaHydroxy Acids. I brought for your viewing pleasure an AlphaHydroxy acid peel. This is an alpha-hydroxy acid glycolic peel, and its molecular size is small enough that it penetrates into the skin, goes deep into the skin, and it regenerates the skin, and it stimulates the GAGs, is what we will call them for the purposes of this class, or glycosamine glycans, and it will renew your skin. That is why people love to get peels, because as you age, your cell turnover starts to slow down. And this is one of the ways to speed up that process. Now, we take the peel, and after we have prepped the skin, we apply it to the face. And depending on the type of peel, now this is a glycolic acid peel, so we will neutralize it. Now, some of these types of peels are self-neutralizing. It just depends on the type and the other ingredients in it. And we like to cool the skin as well, sometimes with ice if it gets too red. And sometimes we like to put a mask on it after, but I will pass this around so that you can look at it, but don't touch it with your fingers because you don't want to burn your fingers. So I will just go ahead and pass this around for everyone to take a look at. You can smell it because it does have a very distinct smell. And as we get further on in the class, we will be performing chemical peels on each other. And you will enjoy that, I'm sure, because you will want to rejuvenate and give yourself that nice, beautiful glow that you're all looking forward to. And that is probably one of the reasons why you decided to become an esthetician, so that you could enjoy the benefits and then pass them on to others. I think it is wonderful, and I cherish every second of what you would love to do, because as my students, I fully support every single one of you and I cheer you on. So I will pass this around to you, and you may dip this in. Smell it, but please do not touch it with your skin. And I will be passing around gloves. I will have my student aide, Margaret, be passing around gloves to you so that you may also avoid touching it on your skin. Now, if you drop it, you will be fired from this class. Just kidding. I don't fire students. So, here you are. Let us continue on with another wonderful skin fact. All right, now this skin fact has to do with body hydration. Since the body skin is almost always normal to dry, the liberal use of moisturizers is important. The best time to apply it is immediately after bathing while the skin is still damp. Doing so will lock in the moisture into the skin. Make sure that it has absorbed during the bath. Be sure to apply the moisturizer very liberally to the arms and legs, which can be especially dry, and on areas such as elbows and heels, which is allowed to become especially dry, can become painfully cracked. You might like to use a heavier cream. Look for the ones containing urea, or use one that contains an alpha-hydroxy acid to refine the skin's outer layer. Now, alpha-hydroxy acids are what we were just talking about in the peel. Some, depending on the strength, some can be very strong, such as in the peel. Some can be very mild. You can use them in a wash. So you always want to be wary when you're using an alpha-hydroxy acid that you want to wear sunscreen afterwards, because it can sensitize your skin. Make sure that you do write that in your notes, because you will want to remember that for the quiz and also just for base knowledge. Because it is one of the most important things if you're going to rejuvenate your skin and get those new skin cells growing and sloughing off that old skin. You do not want to damage that new baby skin that you just created. Otherwise, you would be doing yourself more harm than good. And we do not want that, it would be counterintuitive. So those are some facts that we have started. And again, make sure to be writing these down so that when you have selected your favorite fact, you can be writing it on the board. Now, if you have chosen the same facts, you can collaborate amongst yourselves, and two of you can come up at the same time and just write them down. You can draw a little picture if you want to illustrate the point. That's fine. If you want to demonstrate how it works, such as if we're talking about AlphaHydroxy acids, if you want to draw a little face and how it's penetrating into the skin, I will be fine with that. I just want to make sure that you have absorbed the material. I don't care what your delivery method is. Everybody learns differently. So if you feel that you learn best with a picture, and also I will take feedback. So if you feel that my delivery method is not the way you are learning, again, I mentioned this on the first day of class. If you feel that you learn better with pictures, I will bring more of those in. Today was a bit of a rush day. There was a lot of traffic coming in. And you know how traffic is these days. We're hoping to do better as the year goes on. And so just be writing your questions down, and then we will do skin analysis after that, okay? All right. Let us continue. I'm going to talk about some laser facts as I let you soak all that in, okay? Now, this is a laser that rejuvenates the skin. Just kidding. This is a laser pointer. This does not rejuvenate the skin. This will make you go blind. Just kidding. This will not make you go blind, but it will drive your cat nuts or your dog. So be careful with that. Now, when we are talking about lasers, we are talking about real lasers, like skin lasers, the rejuvenating kind of lasers, not laser pointers. Ladies and gentlemen, the real lasers. All right, let us start with this lovely book. We are going to talk about selective photothermolysis. Selective photothermolysis governs today's aesthetic laser and light practice. The theory of selective photothermolysis was published by R. Anderson, MD, and J. Parrish in 1983 to elegantly describe the selective absorption of a specific light by a targeted chromophore. So the chromophore is whatever is in the skin that is going to be targeted, whether you are targeting the pigment or the hair, or say you're removing a tattoo, then you would be targeting that pigment in the tattoo. So now let's continue. This light photo delivers thermal energy that is engineered to cause selective destruction or lysis of the designated target. Selective photothermolysis refers to the use of a selected wavelength of laser light coupled with the accurate pulse duration and energy settings to limit the destruction within the chromophore of the treated area. In essence, what one is trying to achieve is targeted destruction of a blood vessel, hair follicle, or age spot with minimal heating or side effects of the surrounding healthy skin. Yes, so what that is saying is that the chromophore that it's targeting, it could be a blood vessel, like a telangiectasia or a vein that you want to remove, or the hair follicle, such as in laser hair removal, or an age spot or a freckle, such as with IPL laser, which is not really a laser, it's just light. But now we're just becoming technical here. So the chromophore is the chromophore, which you may write down, and you can choose that as one of your facts, even though it is part of the laser light theory. You may choose that as one of your facts to write down. And a note on chromophores is that I am not a chromophore, and you are not a chromophore. The thing in the skin is a chromophore, so you may want to write that down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've absorbed quite a lot, and this has been a very rigorous lesson. So we are going to take a break. Just take some deep breaths, and then we will take a break. We will continue with our facts when we come back.